Have you ever wondered what the worst event in the Bible was? There are tragedies that made even heaven fall silent. But what made them the worst? Could it be the loss or the unimaginable suffering? Let's uncover the profound meaning of these events right now. The Bible is not just a book of faith and hope, but a vivid portrayal of humanity's deepest tragedies in history. These stories are not just for reading, but for reflection. What do they mean to us today? And among these heartbreaking stories, which event is considered the worst? Let us explore to not only understand this event, but also uncover the profound lessons hidden within the tragedy. The Bible invites us to confront the past, to learn, and to overcome the challenges of the present. This story is not just for those of the past, but a valuable lesson for each of us today. Our choices today will determine whether we learn from tragedy or repeat the mistakes of history. Let the light of faith illuminate our path, even when faced with the greatest darkness. The door to truth awaits us to explore, to understand, to change, and to rise stronger. This journey is not just about understanding the past, but also about rediscovering ourselves through the lessons of the Bible. In the Bible, we encounter many sorrowful events, from great floods and city destructions to human betrayal against one another. Let's start with the Great Flood, an event carried out by God to cleanse the world of sin. But what was the cost? Millions of lives, from humans to animals, wiped out in a violent storm. Can you feel the pain of humanity facing such despair? Next is the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Imagine a city glowing brightly for a moment, then sinking into ashes, not just for its sins, but also for the wrong choices of its people. Does that feeling resemble a warning sent to us today? But that's not all. The crucifixion of Jesus Christ, a sinless man punished for the sins of humanity. A heartbreaking event, but also the spark of faith and redemption. The life of Jesus Christ is a testament to the power of faith overcoming suffering. From that sacrifice, humanity found a path to forgiveness and rebirth. That sacrifice didn't just change history, but also the future of us all. Can we draw lessons from those sorrowful events to change ourselves? Every story in the Bible, whether sorrowful or majestic, holds invaluable lessons. Those lessons are not just for the past, but also guiding lights for the present and future. Each of our lives is like a page being written. Will we choose to write those pages with faith and hope, or let the sorrows of the past repeat? The stories in the Bible remind us that every sorrow can bring rebirth if we know how to learn from it. And just like flowers blooming from ashes, we can always rise from our falls. Do we have the strength to face such challenges and hold on to our faith? The light of faith never goes out. It just needs to be preserved and passed on. And though the world has endured much sorrow, the first stones to rebuild it are always in our hands. So let's start with ourselves, turning the lessons of the Bible into strength for today's life. That is how we overcome sorrow and move toward a brighter future. But if we must choose the worst event in the Bible, it is the fall of humanity in the Garden of Eden. Imagine a perfect world where humans lived in the direct presence of God, with no suffering, no sin. But because of one wrong decision, eating the forbidden fruit, everything fell apart. Adam and Eve's choice not only changed their destiny, but that of all humanity. Sin, suffering, sickness, and death entered the world, creating an unending chain of tragedy. And more importantly, why did they choose this path? Was it because of temptation? Or was it a desire to go beyond the limits they were given? This question may never have a satisfying answer, but the consequences of that action are undeniable. It impacted all of humanity. This story, though tragic, is a profound reminder of the consequences of disobedience and temptation. Even amidst tragedy, there's a glimmer of hope that humanity can find its way back to God. Their journey didn't end with the fall, but opened a greater story, the story of redemption. The lesson here is not just to avoid temptation, but to have hope and trust in God's greater plan. In moments of weakness, remember that only faith in God can help us stand firm against all challenges. Let God's light illuminate your path, even when darkness seems to cover everything. The fall of Adam and Eve is a cautionary tale, but it's also an opportunity to understand that forgiveness and salvation are always present. And this fall ultimately led to the greatest story, the story of Jesus' love and sacrifice to redeem humanity. Don't let mistakes or temptation obscure your path. Always trust in God and His love for you. This story reminds us that even when we stumble, God always offers a chance to return to Him. Let the story of Eden remind you of the power of faith, forgiveness, and the wonderful plan God has for each of us. As the gates of Eden closed, it wasn't just the loss of a place, but the loss of direct intimacy with God. From then on, humanity had to toil for survival, and sweat replaced the peace they once knew. Suffering, tears, and loss became an inescapable part of life. But even in their suffering, God left a promise. One day, humanity would be redeemed and return to Him. The tree of life, though out of reach, reminds us that redemption is always the ultimate goal. And from the worst event, God began a journey of redemption, bringing forth a new hope for humanity. What are the consequences of those events? Look at the world today. Sin still exists, pain still spreads, and humanity continues to struggle to find meaning in life. But surprisingly, from those very tragedies, the Bible also opens the path to salvation. A fall is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey. That journey is about seeking forgiveness and returning to God. From the stains of the past, the Bible brings hope for cleansing and starting anew. The following events in the Bible are not just stories, but promises of a better future. From the promise of a Savior to Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, all focus on mending this broken relationship. Forgiveness is at the heart of that message, a chance for humanity to return to God. Like the father in the story of the prodigal son, God is always ready to welcome us back, no matter our past mistakes. That is the message of the Bible. Forgiveness and salvation are always there if we choose to seek them. The stories in the Bible are not just history, but a roadmap for today's life. And each of us, no matter the era, can find meaning through the journey back to God. It's not an easy path, but it's certainly the one that leads to peace and hope. And from the darkness of the fall, the light of faith always finds a way to shine. That's why the Bible is not just personal lessons, but also a connection to the community through faith. Ask yourself, how can we apply those lessons to our daily lives? We are not just individuals, but part of a larger community where faith helps us overcome hardships. And through small acts of forgiveness every day, we are slowly mending the world around us. The messages in the Bible are like a river, always flowing, always bringing new life. And if we share that faith, the world will become better each day. Like a lighthouse in the storm, the Bible is the guiding light through life's tempests. From the tragedies of the past, we can find hope to build a new future. Remember, no matter how dark it gets, the light of salvation always remains, and rebirth always begins with faith in the good. That's why Jesus' sacrifice is not just the past, it's an invitation for us to embark on the journey of redemption. So, what is the lesson from this worst event? First, it reminds us that free will is both a gift and a great responsibility. Free will allows us to choose our path, but it also demands accountability for our decisions. Second, no matter how great our mistakes, there's always hope for redemption, as long as we are willing to place our faith in something greater. And finally, what matters is not how many times we fall, but how we rise and find our way back to the light. Challenges, trials, and failures are just parts of the journey. They don't define us. God always extends His hand to welcome those willing to return and seek Him. The journey back to the light is not easy, but it is always worth it. Ask yourself, if you were in the Garden of Eden that day, what would you do? Would you choose differently? Or would you too be drawn by the pull of temptation? Remember, no matter how far we fall, God's light is always present to guide us. Do not fear, for God is always with you. He is and will always guide us back to Him. Let this story remind you that faith and love are always strong enough to overcome any failure. No matter how winding your journey, never give up. There's always light waiting at the end of the path. Life always offers new opportunities if we dare to stand up and move forward. Live with faith, loyalty, and love. That is how we overcome every trial. Pass on the faith and lessons of the Bible to the next generation. so they do not repeat the mistakes of the past. The river of hope will always flow in the hearts of those who hold firm to their faith and seek God's light. Live with gratitude, for God always gives us a chance to start over and keep going. Let God be the lighthouse in your life, guiding you through every storm and trial. Above all, remember that God has built the bridge between Him and us, so no one is left behind. Even when we feel broken or fallen, God's light is always waiting to heal us. So, will you choose to live with faith and hope, or let mistakes hold you back? The choice is yours. Open the door of your heart. Let God's light shine and lead you to true peace. This journey is not about where we started, but where we will arrive when we place our faith in God. What does this story make you think? Do you agree that humanity's fall is the most tragic event in the Bible? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you'd like to keep exploring meaningful lessons from the Bible, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell to never miss a video. See you in the next stories.